What's up, guys? The regular season is here. The games are coming. The 49ers are going to be on the field in a real game that really matters in just a minute. And one undrafted rookie is rising up the depth chart yesterday. I think he's making the team. Can't wait to tell you about him and so many other things from yesterday's preseason game. Hit subscribe if you're looking for daily 49ers content. Thank you for all of you for jumping on my live yesterday. Appreciate you guys. Zeke was out there and commenting and chatting it up as I was trying to get my feet wet in that environment. That was super awesome. I want to first start off with a quick question for you guys, which is, I think it's probably, for me, it is the most obvious question that I could possibly ask, which is, how are you guys feeling about Nick Martin? Maybe not the best player on the field yesterday in total, but my goodness, he was up there at the top of the list, was he not? Nick Martin was absolutely exceptional. And, I'm really hyped on Nick Martin. I was hyped coming into the season. Then that first game, I was a little bit like, ooh, okay, maybe not perfect. But Nick Martin showed up yesterday and played a heck of a game, was absolutely outstanding. You look at Robinson actually picks a good line here. Nick Martin, though, his ability to pick up the open man, his ability to close, that closing down speed is incredible. So you got to love him. Then, of course, on this play, you've got a running back moving, cutting inside from the left. So you're looking at the left of the screen here. Nick Martin's being held there, breaks out of his hold, puts his head right on the ball, forces the fumble. Absolutely love that. Evan Anderson is on it. And then later in the game, there was also, this one was outstanding right here. So look at the separation Nick Martin has from the rest of his team right there. Big, massive open field tackle there. Get some support from other guys. So on the stat sheet, it might come down as a half tackle, whatever. Who cares? He got there, blitzed there. It was absolutely epic. And Nick Martin just had a fantastic game. He was, let's see here. Defensive grades from PFF came out last night at 87.2. So he goes from having a kind of a rougher start. Okay, I'm not going to call it a rough start, but it was a little bit of a rougher start. Week 2 comes in and he's getting his feet wet, showing why the 49ers drafted him. And yesterday, showing that he belongs on the field. Maybe not as a starter, but definitely as a guy in special teams right now and a guy who can play a role when he needs to. The 49ers are going to need to keep some linebackers. But when you look at the linebacker depth chart, which we'll look at in a few minutes here, like this linebacker room is actually surprisingly good. This is like a sneaky good linebacker core, and it's gotten better. Like we're going to cut somebody probably who's going to get picked up by another team. I kind of feel that way because of the way that it all shakes out. Again, I'll be showing you some of that in a second. But while we're talking about PFF grades, and I understand PFF's not the gospel, like it's just information, okay? Take with it what you will. I think it's fairly accurate to most of the players I saw, what I saw with the naked eye yesterday. You look at the highest graded players on the 49ers offense, and apologize for not having all my graphics packages up. I had to put a video together super quickly today, but Tariq Owens, only on 10 snaps. All these guys, for the most part, other than Austin Pleasance, which you got to give a shout out to, playing at right tackle yesterday in there for Colton McKivitz. The 49ers did the best they absolutely could to not have first stringers out there, with the exception of a couple rookies who were just getting some reps in there. You just need them to get reps in there. And then Isaac Guerendo comes back from injury. You need him to get reps out there, but he's not technically a first-teamer running back. He is in the lineup, but he's not a first-teamer running back. We'll talk more about him later too. But Tariq Owens, well done. Really cool to see T.O. get a touchdown. Good for him. T.O. Jr., I should say. Luke Farrell, this actually... In my memory, I felt like I was disappointed in one play, but then Luke Farrell had like 20 yards, couple catches. So there you go. Gets a nice overall 80. That's pretty solid. Isaiah Hodgins, Austin Pleasance, really on 40 snaps in a preseason game. Got to give you some credit there because you're going up against a lot of different players. You're going up against guys who are all trying to make a roster. So they're fighting for their lives, a lot of them. And for Austin Pleasance to handle as well as he did, I thought that was pretty cool. Connor Colby also getting honors again. Good for him. Just showing up as a 7th round draft pick. Wow, he's killing it. On the defensive side of the ball, Trevis Gibson, a player who probably won't make this team, unfortunately, might not make this team. I guess we'll see. The depth of the defensive line is still a little bit to be determined. We'll know more after we get the cut down day information tomorrow. But Travis Gibson, Nick Martin, Jordan Elliott, Saron Neal, and Bruce Hector out there. Hector goes down. No, it wasn't Hector. Was it Hector who went down? Who went down? Now I'm doubting myself, but forget about that for a second. Nick Martin had 38 snaps. So you got to give him credit. You know, these PFF grades, when you're out there for 10 snaps, maybe even 15, like Jordan Elliott, like give him a little bit of credit. But Nick Martin was out there for a great deal of the game, playing in multiple positions, playing linebacker and playing in special teams, of course. And to have Brent Boyer be happy with you is something that you definitely want. He's an old school type. He has high expectations for the special teams group, so that's a great thing. I'm going to skip on the not so excited players there because some of that, other than Matt Hennessy, dude, you know, everyone uses like the revolving door. I don't know what you call it when you're in the middle of the field. Like, do you still call it a revolving door when you're playing at center and just not doing well? No offense to Matt Hennessy, just not a good game for him. When he was out there for the limited amount of time that he was out there, there were several instances where it felt like Hennessy wasn't just an open door. It was like a springboard. Like, here you go. The running back's right behind me. Let me show you the way. I can even give you a little push on the way. It just felt yikes. But that's okay. I feel bad saying that. And then when we get down to like highest marks, Tariq Owens, Travis Gibson doing well. We already talked about them. On the offensive line, though, Austin Pleasance, I mentioned him earlier. Tackle Austin Pleasance was the game's highest graded offensive lineman between both teams, so that's awesome. And then Connor Colby earned the best run blocking grade among 49ers offensive linemen. So there you go. That's something that, you know, is interesting because Connor Colby has been surprisingly good with pass pro. So that's awesome to see that he's doing really well in run, getting noted for the run blocking grade as well. So cool things there. When you look at the pressures the offensive line gave up, you're looking at two names that you should really be paying attention to, in my opinion. Maybe it was Prince that got injured. Is that who it was? Two guys that stick out to me. Spencer Burford and Nick Zakelj. These are guys who are fighting for a roster spot. Well, I think Spencer Burford's got got it down, but Nick Zakelj is fighting for a roster spot. And these guys, you know, continuing to play decently well, and you'll take that from backup positions right now because that's what we can. We have what we have. We're going to do the best we can with what we have. So there you go. All right. I guess we could throw out Isaac Guerendo too. He technically goes down as the highest graded running back, but only has how many yards? 13 yards on 8 carries. Not ideal from Isaac Guerendo. I saw it in the live. I noticed it and mentioned it in the live stream. So if you were watching, you heard about it too. But Isaac Guerendo kind of favoring that right shoulder over there, a little nervous about how that'll play out. We'll have to wait and see. A couple days later, you typically get a much better response on like kind of how he's doing. But he did go back out there, so that's a good sign. Now, when it comes to the depth chart, how did yesterday's game affect the depth chart, affect players that are making the 53? Interestingly, by the way, Matt Maiocco puts out a 52-man roster. 52 leaves a space, believes the 49ers are going to be making a move. So that's interesting. We'll see how that plays out. You got 2 quarterbacks. That's pretty common from every 53-man roster at this point. Says you're going to see Brock Purdy and Mac Jones make the team, and then you're going to see you're going to hope like Bradley, maybe Tanner Mordecai, maybe can sneak through to practice squad. Curtis Rourke will be your NFI player, of course. Gets a redshirt season for him. Love him. I love the idea of him, I should say. Running back, Christian McCaffrey, Brian Robinson Jr., who Brian Robinson was per Kyle Shanahan. He said this yesterday after the game. He is your RB2. Solid. And I love it. I absolutely love it. Even if the only reason he said that was to send a message to Isaac Guerendo, I love it because Isaac Guerendo needs to find a way to stay healthy. And some of that is outside of your control. Some of it's in your control. I don't know how much of Isaac Guerendo's injury history is in his control and not in his control. Not really sure. But I've heard stories about running backs in the NFL. I think Green Bay Packers had a running back years back. I'm trying to remember who it was. Who said that like 3 years into the league, he learned how to better take care of his body, and it just made a massive difference. So I don't know if there's something Isaac Guerendo could be doing. I'm not going to assume either way. But Matt Maiocco does have Jordan James making the team, which is exactly how I expected things to turn out. And that's no disrespect to Jeff Wilson. Love Jeff Wilson, but I do think that they drafted Jordan James for a reason. I think he's a good scheme fit. I think there's a good potential there. And if Isaac Guerrero gets injured again, Jordan James definitely needs to be around. Isaac Guerrero will also, if you saw in the game when he got injured, like he's going to be out there for special teams. And you don't want your RB2 out there in special teams if you can avoid it. So that was pretty telling as well. He only has the 49ers taking 5 wide receivers right now. Ricky Pearsall, Juwan Jennings, Jordan Watkins, who is injured, but will take up a roster spot, of course. Sky Moore and Russell Gage will be your players that are anticipated to be on this team. Now, when you look at that, Ricky Pearsall, Juwan Jennings, Christian McCaffrey, and George Kittle, the 4 of them, you feel okay with those guys. Like, you know what Juwan Jennings is going to give you. Now, is he going to be ready? Is he going to be fit? That will be most telling when we find out on Monday. I keep forgetting today is Sunday because the game was yesterday, and I keep thinking then I have 2 days. We actually have a couple days. We're okay. We'll get information tomorrow about injuries and stuff. But Juwan Jennings, will he be out there to practice tomorrow? That is going to be the most telling thing to me. Basically, Kyle Shanahan said he's ready to go. He's good. He's ready to go. He's ready to play. So that tells me either we're going to hear something about an extension soon, or they have come to an agreement to disagreement. And Juwan Jennings is not going to get a contract extension. He's going to go play a prove-it year, and he's going to go out there and absolutely destroy this season and then say, see you later, 49ers. It was nice knowing you. And he's going to go get big money somewhere else. We'll see how it plays out. As far as I'm concerned, Juwan Jennings is kind of a win-win situation as long as he's healthy, because either he goes out there and he has a prove-it year for his big free agent move next year, and he's going to make big money doing it, or he goes out there and he gets an extension and he has a little bit of a lifeline. The 49ers get to keep him around for another year. Unfortunately, I love Juwan Jennings, love his attitude, love his team mentality. Juwan Jennings is not going to be a 49er in a couple years' time, I'm pretty sure. I have pretty good confidence on that. And it's not because we don't like him. It's not because the 49ers don't like him. It's because Juwan Jennings is the type of player that he is, and the way that 49ers draft wide receivers, he will always be a replaceable person on this roster. I don't like it. I'm just telling you that's the way that it is. They're always going to be drafting players to take in those roles, and because Juwan Jennings is not your WR1, despite the fact that he wants to be, Brandon Aiyuk is your WR1, will always be the WR1, at least for the next year. I just don't see... I could be wrong. That's where I'm currently at. Let me know in the comments. As always, you can tell me if you disagree. Good for Russell Gage getting an opportunity out there. Of course, he proved it in Atlanta. We want to see him prove it in a 49ers uniform. Jacob Cowing going to IR. We learned that Jacob Cowing is probably going to be out for like 6 weeks. Hugely disappointing. Hugely disappointing, because I really loved what we saw in Jacob Cowing last year in preseason, and I would have loved to see another opportunity for him, but it did not work out for him. And then Demarcus Robinson will have back by week 4, so that's good too. When you look at tight end, it sells itself. We've already talked about it. You could say, Braden Willis has made the step over Jake Tonjes if you want. That's fine, but it's pretty straightforward. Trent Williams on the offensive line, obviously Dominic Pooney, Colt McKivitz, Jake Brendel, Ben Barch, Connor Colby, 7th rounder, makes the team. Spencer Burford, thought he's done enough to make the team. Nick Sakel, I believe he makes the team, and Austin Pleasance has done well enough to make the team as well. That's where you're looking for the offensive line. Defensive line is also fairly interesting. The big name on the bottom that you want to be paying attention to. So you got Nick Bosa, Michael Williams, Alfred Collins, CJ West, Bryce Huff, Jordan Elliott. These guys mostly all sell themselves. Kalia Davis, Sam Okuwanu, and then Sebastian Valdez. Hulk Valdez, my goodness. Hulk Valdez, let's go. I do have a little bit of a what is going on with YGM? I'm a little worried about him because this little knee thing has just continued to go on and on and on. So I am worried about Yetur Gross-Matos. I have some concerns there, but I'm excited about Sebastian Valdez. I'm really excited about this undrafted free agent who has risen up the depth chart, who's making this team. I believe that's the case. Evan Anderson, unfortunately, Robert Beal Jr., unfortunately, these guys are probably not going to make the team, and that's too bad. I really liked Evan Anderson, another undrafted last year, has that really cool fumble recovery yesterday. Great for him, but he's probably not going to make the team, unfortunately. I agree with Matt Mayoko on this one as well. Linebacker, Fred Warner, D. Winters, Nick Martin, Luke Gifford, Tatum Bethune, and Curtis Robinson. The guys like Chaz Surratt, if he does make the team, okay, this is going to be interesting. If he does make the team and they do keep 6 linebackers, which they could absolutely do that. Because of the love for the nickel, I'm guessing they won't. But if they did, Chaz Surratt would make this team. Not making this team, I think it's Curtis Robinson too. I agree with Matt Mayoko here. Curtis Robinson is what an incredible story, you guys. I think I got something on that. Hold on. Yeah, I've got that moment there. What an incredible story, Curtis Robinson. This is a guy who turned down an opportunity to be a starter in the league, to stay with the 49ers because he wanted to learn from Dre Greenlaw and Fred Warner. He wanted to learn from these guys. Then he comes back last year and gets injured and misses the entire season on an ACL. After all of that recovery, after all of that time, gets to have a pick six. What a moment for that linebacker. That is such a special moment for him. Absolutely elated for Curtis Robinson. He makes this team, in my opinion, as well. Matt Maiocco and I think I see eye to eye on all of these with Matt Maiocco. Speaking of corners now, Deommodore Lenoir, Renardo Green, Upton Stout, of course. And then he has Flowers and Lucas making the team, which is exactly what I told you I believe is going to happen as well. Trey Brown, season-ending IR, makes this decision a little bit easier for the 49ers. And then Jacob Robinson got injured, broke his forearm. Now he's IR. So that makes that decision as that simple as well. At the safety position, Jason Pinnock, Marquise Siegel, Jair Brown, Saran Neal, and I agree with the order of these players. I am 100% with Maiocco that Jair Brown has not risen up the depth chart. He has fallen down the depth chart. But that's also in part because Marquise Siegel has been fantastic. We know John Lynch loves Jason Pinnock, has talked about how his elite athleticism, how incredible it is. So that's cool. So there's a lot of good stuff there. And then in special teams, of course, Jake Moody. Do you think he's going to make this team? Let me know if you think he's going to make this team. I think he's going to make the team. That's a fair question. But players miss point afters. It happens, okay? Like I said this yesterday. Like you cannot assume that players are not going to miss a point after every once in a while. But can Jake Moody afford to miss a point after right now? Can he afford to kick it out of bounds? No. Jake Moody cannot afford to make those kind of plays right now. That's how I feel. But that's okay. Let me know what you think in the comments about that one. Whoo-wee. Best person in the NFL to get most out of uncharted players like Winters, Siegel, Lucas, Robinson, and Martin is Robert Saleh. And you have to agree with this. You have to agree. Dante Atkinson with a fantastic point. Because when you look at Curtis Robinson, how much better he looks this preseason even than last preseason, where I thought he did really well. When you look at Chase Lucas and how valuable he's been, Nick Martin and how much he's turned around, you have to say coaching is a huge part of that. You have to, especially with Chase Lucas, because a lot of his impact started against the Denver Broncos in plays where there was disguised coverage and then he came blitzing in. So the opportunities came in there, set up really, really well for him. But the guy who, as I mentioned earlier, I'm just so excited about this young individual, this undrafted free agent here, Sebastian Valdez, Hulk, as they like to call him. Posts yesterday after the game, living my dream, thanks to the man above, all gas, no brakes. And you have to love Hulk as one of your depth guys on the defensive line because he's not perfect, but he has played really, really well, especially these last two preseason games. It's preseason. I get it. Like it's not a perfect science, but he has played incredibly well. Sebastian Valdez played very well during the preseason, says Coach Yak. Look a look at his numbers and grades. 58 pass rush snaps, 4 pressures, half a sack, 6 tackles, 1 tackle for loss, 3 QB hits, a 65.6 pass rush grade, and a 56.1 run grade. I mean, do you believe he's going to make the roster? I do. I do. Matt Maiocco does. Let me know if you disagree in the comments. My daughter is in the background raising her hand. She believes he's going to make the roster. So if you don't agree with my daughter, then you're wrong. Flat out. You're just wrong. Appreciate you guys and hope you guys are having a fantastic Sunday evening. Right now, we are, what is it? Hold up. I got it. 14 days away. Oh, I didn't put the Seattle Seahawks logo on there. They don't deserve it. 14 days away from a regular season game where the San Francisco 49ers are going to play the Seattle Seahawks in a real football game that really matters. And all the first stringers are going to be out there, and it's going to be absolutely electric. Make sure you're subbed up so you don't miss out on all the action between now and then and beyond. Appreciate you guys. Have a good one.